Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. Hope you're doing well. Got a story out of Zero Hedge. Interesting story, and I want to get your thoughts on that. The title is Russian tanker hit by Ukrainian sea drones, likely with help from US intelligence. Let me ask you your opinion. Do you believe that Ukraine struck the oil pipeline, the one that was in the sea? I want to know if you believe it was them and them alone. Put true or put false if you do not believe it was them alone, they had help, or if some other country did it. Very, very interesting. I believe that we, the United States, are trying to fight a war against Russia for two reasons. Two reasons: to get all of the attention off of what's going on in the economy, and also to stop or try and slow down the foundation of BRICS, the building of the BRICS nations. All right. Check this out. Overnight saw a major escalation in the Black Sea in the wake of the grain deal collapse. And as Russia is waging war on Ukrainian ports and its ability to export foodstuffs to international markets, Ukrainian drones reportedly scored a direct hit on a Russian tanker in the Kerch Strait, resulting in damage. However, there have been no reports of casualties among the 11 crew members on board. The attack happened at about 11:20 p.m. Friday, just south of Kerch Strait, according to a statement by Russian Federal Agency for Sea and Inland Water Transport. The Russian tanker has since been identified in various international reports as the chemical tanker SIG. The Russian Maritime Agency described the damage, presumably as a result of an attack by a marine drone. In a Telegram statement, the ship is afloat, it added. The statement detailed that there is a hole near the waterline on the starboard side, presumably as a result of a sea drone attack, and confirmed that there were no casualties. I hope people understand that if it is found that the United States has been aiding, and we already know that the United States has been ramping up in so many different ways the war drums against Russia, and Russia knows this. The most recent is the White House authorizing so many thousands of our soldiers to start moving into Europe, putting pressure on Russia. We are trying to invoke or poke the bear, for lack of better terms, but I honestly believe that is probably the best way of saying it, trying to get Russia to attack us because we are trying to find any and all reasons to go to war with them. This is what happens right as countries are losing the lead of the economy, losing their edge on economics. This is what happens. When all else fails, they bring you to war. That's what Gerald Celente says, right? It's very, very fitting. And I want to make sure people are following these stories. And the reason why is because as it becomes more and more apparent that the US is meddling in situations that it shouldn't, but it's because, and this is very serious, there are our government servers. The Democratic Party has servers, computer servers with their information on it in the Ukraine. This information came out in 2015, 2016. It went very underreported in the mainstream press. Why would that be? Why would a government group in our country want to store their vital and valuable information in another country? It is because they knew it would take an act of war. That is why we are helping to fund that war, and I completely and utterly disagree with it. I personally believe that there are things that are really bad over in Ukraine. And it's you're skating on a thin edge, let's say, whenever you talk about it. But you have to realize that there are certain people in this world that want war. They want to cover up their crimes, which should be war crimes. They want to hide them and get our country into a war that it shouldn't be in, sacrificing our children for their gain. Now, it says here that SIG has previously come under Washington sanctions for transporting jet fuel to Russian forces in Syria. This strongly suggests U.S. intelligence assisted the Ukrainians with targeting information. Again, this is given that this specific tanker happened to be a sanctioned vessel connected with Russian logistics in Syria. The detonation due to the explosion on the ship was visible from the peninsula, which the local residents thought was an explosion in the vicinity of Yankervogo settlement not far from the Crimean Bridge. A Russia-installed official in Zaporizhzhia region said additionally. Ukraine's military and intelligence appeared to own up to the attack, which in recent weeks had been a new trend considering though most of the conflict, Ukraine has remained silent in terms of taking responsibility for operations in Russian territory. The tanker, and this is NBC details of Ukrainian officials' words, the tanker was transporting fuel for the Russian troops, the source said, adding that it was well loaded and the fireworks could be seen from afar. They said that a surface drone and TNT had been used to carry out the attack. NBC could not verify their claims. Type 1 if you believe that half the stuff that you see on the news about this war is completely fake and made up, and it's either literally on a set and you want to talk conspiracy theories. Type 1 if you believe half this stuff isn't even footage of the actual war. Type 2 if you believe, no, this is exactly what's happening. I find it extremely interesting that I remember when Boris Johnson visited the Ukrainian president, you know, the guy that was in the really questionable boy band with very tight leather pants, just saying. They were walking down the street and they had some guards and they were showing you, they're in their tech vests and all this kind of stuff. And as they would pass, they would go through streets and look at all the damage. And then you go pass down a street that you could see down as they're walking by, the camera would pan by. You'd see cars and people just sort of looking at them, just normal everyday traffic. It seemed very, very odd to me. As a matter of fact, everything, all of the ninja spidey senses run straight up and go, no, this is not real. This is fake. This is very similar to the weapons of mass destruction with Iraq. George Bush later on just laughed it off at a press dinner. Oh, can't find him under this table. Can't find him. We killed a lot of people, though. Do you remember the footage of all the incubators and all the bad things that Saddam Hussein was doing, and they found out later that that was stock footage from something else? As a matter of fact, in this skirmish, this war right now that we've already seen videos and photos of the Ukrainian president wearing battle gear, and we found out that that was all stock footage from old training evolutions. I believe that we are in a very serious situation here, and it is so dire that powers that be want to take us to war. They're willing to sacrifice our lives because they've already sacrificed our pensions, our futures. If this doesn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. And if this doesn't get you into the mode of, I need to be prepared because I'm starting to learn the truth and I'm scared, then I don't know what will. And it's my hope that people wake up and get ready for these things coming on the world, because I believe they're going to get harder and harder and harder before they get better. And I do believe that there's going to be a time of better times. The problem is, and it's happening right now, darkness is being outed everywhere. I mean, how crazy has been the last 2 years of your life, the last 3 years, to think that this much evil and this much darkness would come right out in the open. Right out in the open. Look at just Disney alone. This is absolutely incredible. And it gets me fired up and pumped. We've got companies on the run. Budweiser's on the run. Disney's freaking out. Nobody's showing up to their parks. They're having to sell off portions of their company. They're failing. And now they're like, hey, we're doing an about face. Nope, you showed your true colors. Everybody at the top needs to be fired. You need to go down. This is exciting times. And think about it, as people keep buying up gold and silver, people keep getting out of debt, people are getting ready for this. That's less power that they have. And the more these videos get shared and we share with each other our stories, our testimonies, this is how we overcome. You are not alone. If you feel like you're alone, just do me a favor. Type 5 if you have family and friends that think you're nuts. I just want to see all the 5s, because for the longest time, I did. And you know what's sad? Well, I still do. I still have a couple. Let's call them wing nuts. You're not alone. I'm right with you. I'd be tapping the 5 too. But let me also ask you this. Type the number 7 if some of your family and friends have started to see the light and they're coming around and they're going, oh my gosh, what do I do? And your level of conversation is going up here. And I'm telling you, for everyone that's hitting the 5 right now, you're going to start to have 7s. Trust me, because as all this darkness comes out around the world, there is going to be light shining through. Can't have darkness without light, because you can't tell that you're in darkness until you see light. You see the opposite. And even though the whole room may be dark, a little pinprick of light beams in. And right now, that little pinprick of light is you, the one that is understanding where we are, doing something about it. And what's going to happen is then someone else is going to come along and another pinprick and another pinprick. And before you know it, they're going to wear a hole through that sheet, that darkness. And then before you know it, that light just starts to fill the room. I hope this encourages you. I thank you for watching. Watch what's going on with the war. I believe that we have way too much involved in this, and I completely despise it, and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ. Hope you guys have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.